Have a question? Send me a voice message by going to anchor.fm/thesingersarsenal/message. That's anchor.fm/thesingersarsenal/message. I'd be happy to answer your vocal questions. And who knows, maybe your question could end up on a future episode of The Singer's Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the Singer's Arsenal. The Singer's only. Singer's Arsenal. Singer's only.
Hey you guys, it's Kristal Cherelle from Indie Artist School. Welcome to The Singer's Arsenal. Today we're going to talk about how to stop your voice from cracking. I know that it can seem like something that is irreversible and that it's just a sign that you're not meant to sing, but trust me when I tell you this is not what it means. Chances are there are two main culprits to learning why your voice might be cracking. Now, the biggest clue to help you decide which one of these issues you're actually having is determining, does this happen every time you sing a certain note, or is this a one-time thing? Is it rare, or can you tell when it's about to happen? Okay, so the first way to rule that out is if you always have trouble with this, then chances are it has to do with you finding the correct vocal placement for the bridges of your voice. I'll get more into that later. Or it could mean that maybe you're just not taking care of your voice right now. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is vocal health. The first thing that you need to do to make sure that it's not just because of your voice is to make sure that you stay hydrated. Hydration is key, and it doesn't matter if you're doing everything correctly. If your voice is not in good health, it's not going to sound right, and your voice won't be quite as reliable. The second thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is make sure that you are well rested. Your body is your instrument, and that includes your voice. And if you're tired, chances are your voice might be very fatigued. All right. And then the last thing that you need to really check in with as far as vocal health is concerned is making sure that you're doing your vocal warm-ups before you begin singing. If you've been singing for quite some time, it may seem like, hey, I don't have to do my vocal warm-ups. I can go in cold. It doesn't matter. But your voice still needs to be warmed up before you jump right in. And the reason why is because you want to make sure that you have full control of your voice and that you're not giving too much pressure on your vocal cords without preparing them first. Okay? So if you've done all of that, then it's time to understand the bridges of your voice. Okay, the first thing that you need to do when it comes to the bridges of your voice is finding them first, understanding which parts of your voice are a little weaker than others. And there are some clues to help you discover which ones those are. So the first thing that you might find is when you sing a certain note, as you're going up in a scale, singing up, let's just say we're doing that. But as you approach certain notes, maybe you find that there's a certain change in the way your voice sounds. That means you're shifting vocal registers. You might even notice that it doesn't happen every time you sing a scale, only certain scales. That is a clue to helping you find where your bridge is. So if you sing a certain scale and you notice your voice suddenly changes in the way that it sounds, chances are you've switched vocal registers. Another thing that might help you understand that you're switching registers is that your voice cracks when you get to that certain note. Maybe you feel like you have to strain to get that note out. Now, all of these things are ways that you're trying to cope with this change, but rather than trying to resist that change or being shocked by this change with your vocal register, knowing where your bridge is and knowing how to handle it will help you transition a lot smoother. And that leads us into the third step, which is why you're here. How to shift vocal registers smoothly, how to soften the bridges of your voice. So we talked about those registers, right? Well, here's a good thing to consider when you're trying to soften the bridges of your voice. The bridge itself is the note where your register is changing. Every voice has 3 vocal registers. The lower part of your voice is the chest register. The chest register is where you normally speak. It's the lower end of your vocal range. The middle part of your voice is your mixed register. And between that chest and mixed register is a note where your vocal register is switching between chest to mixed. Now, smoothing the bridge between your chest register and your mixed register, meaning your lower notes to the middle parts of your voice, a good way to do that is by changing your vocal placement. And one of the ways that I like to help my students get the correct vocal placement is using the sound oi. Oi. Okay? And you want to do this slowly to see what's happening as you're moving between it. It doesn't even have to be a scale. You can literally just go oi. Now, what I did just now was not just my lowest to my mixed. I actually took it into the next register. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what happens on the way down. So everybody is different, and you might find it a little bit easier for you to sing to go between your mixed and your chest voice going down, or maybe it's easier for you to go from your chest to your mixed register going up. But either way, this trick works. But you're going to invert that sound if you're going down. So let's take the middle register going to your lowest note going down. For that, instead of oi, we're going to make the yo sound. You want to stay on the yeah sound, and when you feel that flip about to happen, gradually move it and change it to the o sound. So here's an example of that. Yo. So we went yo. And what that helps you do is control the placement of your tongue. That really helps you soften your bridge. Take your time with this. I don't want you to rush it, and I want you to be really aware of where that switch is about to happen so you can change the sound as you approach it. The thing to remember if you're switching between chest and mixed is that whenever you feel the tension building up, switch to the y sound. And whenever you feel like it's needing to drop, switch to the o sound. Okay? And that's different for every person where that is, but that vowel and that sound will work for you. The next bridge is going to be between your mixed register and your head voice. You're going to feel more of the buzz between your nose or the mask in your face. It's up here through your nostrils, as well as having an inner smile. It's like you're about to yawn. That has to do with your head voice. Now, a good way for you to soften the bridge, literally that point that we talked about where your mixed voice is switching into your head voice, is by using a different sound. We're going to use the sound yeah, the yeah sound. All right, now, if you wanted to go from your head voice down to your mixed register, you're going to use the a sound. That's putting everything together. So if I were to go from my head voice to my mix to my chest voice, yo. But if you slowed it down, it's going to sound a little bit more like yo. Okay? So you can try that going down. Give it a shot right now. Slow it down. All right? And you can experiment with where you want to change the sound. Maybe you want to stay on the yes sound a little bit longer for your voice. If you were to go from your chest to mix to head voice, which is your lowest voice all the way to the highest, ayo or oh yeah. That's the way you can soften the bridges of your voice. Then eventually, when you get that down, you can stop using all of those vowel sounds and just remember what it felt like, what your tongue was doing when you were making those shapes, and you could just go, So that would be the way you can eventually do it without any hard shifts or cracking in your voice. Be patient with yourself, you guys. It takes some training and practice and repetition to get this down. But by focusing on those bridges of your voice and softening those, it will make singing songs that have a wide vocal range in them a lot less daunting for you. So try it out. So let's get back into the main things that you need to consider when you're trying to stop your voice from cracking. Number 1, vocal health. Number 2, find the bridges of your voice so you know where it is that you need to focus on. Number 3, soften the bridges of your voice. Some quick tips I can give you with this is make sure that you do these exercises slowly to see the best results. Speeding through these too soon might have you emphasizing the vowel changes or the shapes of your mouth at the wrong parts of your voice. So you really need to be aware of where that tension is, where your voice feels like it's going to crack, and that's when you need to change the sound. So at any time you're trying to do oi, be aware of where your voice is wanting to change. If you try to shift these sounds too soon, it might not work. You're going to find that you're still cracking at that point in your voice because you're changing the shape too soon or too late, meaning you're trying to put the solution in the wrong place. So be really patient with yourself and be aware of your voice. Where is your voice cracking? So some suggestions I can give you with that is sometimes it helps to have someone else to watch you and listen to you to help you know where it is your voice is cracking. Also, another tip that I can give you is for you to do this in front of a mirror or record yourself so you can be aware of any habits that you have as you approach these bridges in your voice. Maybe you're straining. Maybe you find yourself tensing up. Whatever it is, it can give you a clue to find your bridge and be aware of it every time it comes up. If you'd like to get voice lessons, go ahead and visit my website, indieartistschool.com. I give one-on-one voice lessons on Zoom, and I also have an online course called the Indie Artist Toolkit, where I teach you the beginnings of how to sing as well as how to release your own music as an independent artist. That's indieartistschool.com. Also, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting this podcast. I couldn't do it without you guys. Some of you guys are even taking it a step further and donating to support this podcast. If you would like to donate, go ahead and visit anchor.fm/thesingersarsenal/support. Well, you guys, until next time, have a wonderful day.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's the Singers